Sports Network. This show brings the temperature of sports to a whole new level. Whether it's a local opinion or a national agenda, everything is fair game. Remember, everyone has an opinion, but only few can back it up. Now sit back, crank up the volume, and if you think you can handle it, get ready for the heat.
Man, it's been a minute. What's up, everybody? Heat Ratio Live, Heat Ratio Sports at Heat Ratio Sports. You know the drill. Man, Adam already checking in. It's been a while. It's been a minute. Probably since July, man. We needed a much needed break, get some things together, spend some time with the family. Obviously, summer was hot as hell. But again, my grass is still burnt. Spent a lot of pool time, a lot of vacation time, went to Boston. So I went to visit Fenway Park. A lot of cool things for me. I know the fellas had some cool things. I know Al was out in Vegas. I know Dan has been getting things done. So welcome in, everybody. This is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles preview show, obviously, because we have to preview the Eagles and King Howie. We're going to talk about King Howie in a minute. Make sure you're following us at Heat Ratio Sports on all social formats. You're hitting that YouTube button, you're hitting the subscribe button. You already know the drill. You'll see everything going on. You see the names. Make sure you follow. Make sure you follow just my own shameless plug tomorrow night, or actually Thursday night. Make sure you're following the Final Judgment as well. Give me a follow at Judge Jigsaw just for the actual show. I wanted to separate just a little bit because I'm doing so many interviews on it. So I wanted to give them their just due. So Thursday night, I already have lined up. I'll be talking to Chris Franklin from NJ.com, talking about the Eagles. We talk about Kelsey Nicole Nelson from Fox Sports, and talking about the NBA, getting some NBA talking as well, and looking at Jeff Garcia that covers the Spurs out there for Channel 5 for San Antonio on Monday. So action-packed. Make sure you're following Final Judgment as well. But fellas, it's been a while. Get that all out. And also, which will start next week. We got a new sponsor for the show. Check them out, J&N Card Break, J&N Sports Break. Pretty cool Facebook group doing sports card breaks. Something new. It's something new out there for everybody. So check it out. We're gonna have a little ad for them running. They're gonna partner up with us a little bit. And I joined one. I did. It's a pretty cool concept, and I got some pretty cool cards out. I got some Tyrese Halliburton rookies, some chrome cards, which I like, so I'm digging that. But listen, we got to talk football. So we're going to talk again. We're going to change this format up a little bit. We talked about just not going these hour-long shows and 45 minutes of flipping around here and there. So listen, we know we got all bases covered, right? We got the Flyers covered with Dan and his crew. Okay, Al's going to cover us for the Sixers on a 2-minute warning. Okay, Eagles is going to be a collaboration effect from everybody. We may have some NCAA. As always, the Fourth and Go boys will cover all 4 sports. So no need to cover everything on this show. So when we're here every week, we're going to cover one specific topic. Keep it sweet. Keep it short, keep it informative, and keep it fun. So, boys, the Eagles start in a week, okay? And King Howie, I have to call him King Howie. You heard me on the judgment. I was laying claim to the man who I once wanted fired. I know Al's going to get all up in my ass for that eventually, but it's okay. I am okay to always say that I am wrong. But, fellas, I have to ask you. I'll go, Dan, I'll go to you first because you're the upper right corner here. Today, they again pulls it out of the ass again. And we're literally talking about what are we going to do with safety? We get Tartt for the Niners. He doesn't work out. He's gone. Now we're back to who is starting at safety? And out of the blue, here comes Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the nice young safety from the New Orleans Saints, a top 5 defense, mind you. Okay, a top 5 defense, and a guy who played next to Malcolm Jenkins. Okay, next to Malcolm Jenkins. So, Dan, how big of a move is this on the eve basically of the NFL Week 1?
It's huge. We hope that he becomes the next Malcolm Jenkins, who basically was who we crave to replace Brian Dawkins. Like we just don't have those generational safeties in our town. And this kid is a playmaker. He's an enthusiastic ball player. Um, I'm assuming if they made this move, they're going to find a way to sign him. I mean, that was the issue with why he was traded by New Orleans to begin with. And honestly, the biggest props you can give Howie is not that we acquired the kid, which is huge. It's we gave up nothing to get him, a fifth and a sixth, I believe. So
Exactly.
it's a huge move. Um, and it just goes to show you how you acquire him, you have to cut Anthony Harris, right? So it just it shows you they really didn't have any faith in their secondary, no matter how he spins it. But ultimately, to answer your question, it was a huge move, and what makes it even better is with this week and a half that they have before the season starts, I think he'll have enough time to get acclimated to the system that Gannon's going to be running.
Yeah, the ultimate Jonathan Gannon system that we talk about, and Al, I mean, listen, we know how great of an off season, as long as all these guys work out, it really was. But just specifically on the defense side of football, when I don't know how much because you've been busy, but I don't know how much you've seen of this Jordan Davis kid who is phenomenal. I mean, have you seen the size of this guy? And you say to yourself, you have a rotation now on this defensive line where you have Hargrove, you have Fletcher Cox, right? And then you have Milt Williams that everybody forgets about. Okay, you drafted 2 years ago, and now you have this behemoth Andre the Giant looking guy in Jordan Davis, who's already commanded double teams in preseason. I mean,
Triple
right,
teams
true,
too.
exactly. So how ecstatic can we be about this defense?
We're going to finally, well, let's pray that we can finally get back to our basis, which
Yes,
is defense.
Minister of Defense.
Defense is what this city loves. And oh my God, we got it at every level. Every level, defensive line, linebackers that I'm very excited about. And then we get this kid. Like, he brings everything that Philly loves: the enthusiasm, the heart, the passion. The city is going to love this kid as long as he don't go overboard, because obviously we know he's done some overboard things sometimes, but this kid has a lot of spirit to him. Flies around the field. I was looking at his stats. He has a lot of interceptions to be 24. So I can't wait for this defense to get on the field. I can't expect too much too early, because now you're adding a new piece. And it's going to take a while for everybody to do what they need to do. But we're playing Detroit the first week. I mean, we should be fine as far as that. But I can't wait. I can't wait for this defense to get on the field, because each level, like I said, is just going to be who's going to make the play on each on, or how many people are going to make huge plays during each game. They're probably going to try to outdo each other. What's wrong with that?
No, I agree. And Rich checking in saying, finally some linebackers, haven't seen them for a decade plus in Philly. And listen, that is unbelievable. All right. Because we've always been through this era of we don't need linebackers on this team. And we already see TJ Edwards already look like he's going to be a player. We saw that last year. And this is just another year for him. Right. Nakobe Dean is obviously, we already know what he is. It may take him some time. Listen, he is a smaller linebacker, but listen, he's very physical and he's not afraid to hit somebody's head off. So that's one thing you got to love. He just may be slower to learn the scheme. But again, Dan, the one person that I keep talking about that everybody's underplaying on this defense is Hassan Reddick. And I think it's indirectly, I keep saying that because they signed him so early in free agency, and it was like he was just a forgotten guy. But this is a guy who had 2 less sacks than the entire Eagles defense over the last 2 years. Like, if you look at their numbers compared, this guy's a beast. He's a beast. He's exactly what we needed on this defense. So, Dan, I mean, besides that, obviously 31st in sacks last year. I don't think you can get any worse than that. Right. So I really think that, when you're in the bottom basement of the league when it comes to sacks, I mean, there's only one way to go up. But let me ask you this about Jonathan Gannon. A lot of people said that, it was the players last year. It wasn't the scheme, it was the players. He didn't have the talent to run a scheme. I mean, is the jury going to be out this year on Gannon? Because he definitely has the players this year. So I guess this is the year we're going to find out, is it the players or is it the scheme or is it the coach?
No, I definitely think was the players last year. I mean, this could be one of those, my cousin's 5th cousin's aunt, sister told me one of these type of stories. A buddy of mine is really good friends with a guy that lives in, a Center City apartment complex with some athletes, and I think Gannon lives there too, and they're golfing buddies, and the guy said to him, he goes, "Why," he basically was breaking his stones, "Why did your defense suck last year?" And he said,
Love it.
I didn't have the players." So this came from a source that golfed with Gannon. Gannon told the guy who told my friend that he didn't have the players. Well, now he does. And to your Hassan Reddick point, which I think ties into TJ Edwards. TJ Edwards, his only knock is that he didn't test well at the combine. He's the kind of guy that is always attacking the ball and is always in on tackles. But he doesn't have great speed. But now with White, Reddick, and Dean, who are all guys that fly, that's gonna make TJ Edwards even faster, if that makes sense, because the running backs are gonna be trying to avoid the guys at the corner, and they're gonna be right in the middle of the field. So I just love the defense this year. The only concern for me is everything in football is predicated in the trenches, and we've had the vaunted defensive line before Fletcher Cox went downhill that at times didn't get pressure on the quarterback. So as good as the back end is, they still have to get pressure on the quarterback. And to Al's point about Davis getting double, triple teamed, you just hope by accident that's going to make Cox step up his game a little bit. The defensive ends get to the quarterback. And Reddick essentially is a defensive end. So, between him and hopefully Barnett gets a spark under his butt because he basically was wanted by nobody, and he's basically playing for cheap this year. Maybe he gets his act together. Brandon Graham comes back with his, he's on his final tank of gas, I believe. So I do believe, though, if that front line gets a semblance of pressure, this is going to be a very impressive team.
Yeah,
Defense.
I don't disagree. You said a name that is very, very dear to me. I absolutely love. I loved the Kazir White signing, and there's a guy that, if you don't watch football, and that's not a knock on you if you don't watch football, if you just that's fine. But if you do watch football, you know how good of a linebacker he was for the Chargers. You understand? Okay, I remember it was probably about 2 months ago, and I can't remember the exact date, but on Sirius we have David Meltzer on. David Meltzer is a guy who covers the LA teams, and he is a Chargers guy. And the first thing he said to me was, "Tony, let me tell you something. You got yourselves a player out there. You're gonna love that kid White. I was ashamed to see him go, and he's really going to help that defense." And again, it's something we go 3 linebacker deep, which is unbelievable when you think about it, because it's something we haven't had. But Al, talking about deep, let's talk about the secondary for a minute, because I think one of the most important things that people aren't talking about when it comes to the secondary is we already know we have Slay locking it down. We bring in Bradbury, which is another lockdown guy. But the most important part of this, it now allows a guy, Devontae Maddox, to go back to where his actual position is, okay, which is that third corner, that nickel guy, not the outside lockdown guy. That was never his role. He excelled with being a third guy. And then when we forced him into man locking coverage, he couldn't do it. So
Nah.
now we get 3 defensive backs, right? And then like we talked about already about Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. Then you got Marcus Epps. So I'll tell you, Al, I don't know what you think about Marcus Epps, but I'll be honest with you. You know, there's something to say about a kid who just consistently works his ass off every single day. You know, he's gotten bigger, he's gotten stronger. I don't know, Al. I expect some good things out of Epps this year.
I do too. He's always around the ball. If you ever notice, if you've been watching the games, he doesn't always make the play, but he's always in the mix. Whether it's a run, a pass, whatever's going on, he's in the area of what's going on. So as you guys was talking, I was just thinking that Gannon, his main job this year is to put. It's so funny. I was getting ready to say this, and I thought of Andy Reid. Put the players in the right position. So that's what all he needs to do. If he makes sure these guys are in the right position, it's up to them to do what they need to do in this defense. And then we should have no problems. But he's got to get Reddick in the right position to succeed. He's got to succeed. He's got to have the kid Dean. He's got to find a way, because I don't think he's going to start, but you got to find a way to get some impact out of him as well. Maybe you rush him and Reddick from the linebacker spot off of blitzes. I don't know. I don't know what combinations he's going to do, but you got to use everybody to the top of their capabilities and get everything out of them. And if we do that, stop it. This defense should be ridiculous. Lockdown corners. We should have a good lockdown slot, and then we got speed and aggressiveness in the safeties. This kid can run. So shouldn't be anybody beating this off of a fly, somebody slips or anything. We should be fine. We shouldn't get beat. Gannon's defense isn't about getting beat, but I'm just praying that he can get everybody in the position to get everything we can out of him, because there's a lot of talent out there. Lots.
Yeah.
Hey,
yep.
real fast, Tone, to both your points. In the NBA, they call it positionless basketball, right? You got a bunch of 6'7", 6'8" clones that could play 2, 3, and 4, interchangeably. It's almost the same thing in the defensive backfield now in football. You've got Avonte Maddox, who played a lot of safety a couple years ago.
And they love that, by the way. They love that.
Gardner Johnson is more or less a slot corner that we're going to be making a safety who played safety in college.
Yep.
So, and to your point, Al, with the blitzing, when you got safeties that can play corners and corners that can play safety, you don't necessarily have to be afraid of getting beat deep because you've got speed on the field. So, Gannon has to be more aggressive, because again, if the blitz doesn't go through, hopefully your athleticism in the backfield can, cover any mistakes with a person being left on an island.
Look at my man.
John Clark. John Clark is always on the scene, man.
Johnny Airplane, man.
Yeah.
Johnny Airport. Johnny Airport.
You can't come through Philly without him catching you.
No.
Al, he's going to dye his hair a little strip green, though, right?
And that would be nice. Little
Jalen Mills Jr.
Yeah, Jalen Mills. Yeah, that would be
Green
nice.
Goblin.
Absolutely.
The Green Goblin. Well, look, yo, let me tell you something. One of the most popular guys that's never even talked about in Philadelphia is security chief Dom DeSandro.
Yeah.
For the Philadelphia Eagles.
How
Okay. That's my man.
Yeah,
forever.
Wow. Yeah, he made Andy look small.
Yes.
But
you think, look at this kid.
Before
you think
Andy,
this kid's excited?
Was he before
You think this
Andy?
kid's excited?
No, he was with Andy.
Yeah, he was with Andy.
I'm saying before Andy got here. He wasn't Ray Rose, was he?
I don't know. I don't think so.
No,
I don't think he was that far back.
No, but look at it. Look at this kid, man.
Yeah.
This kid is absolutely ecstatic, man. And I get it, right? Everybody's gonna say, well, look, he wanted to be out. He wants to get paid. I understand that. Okay. Very excited. My Pop's favorite team, he says. My granddad has family up here. Listen, he's
Perfect.
already going to be a fan favorite. You already know because
Yeah.
it's a position of need. He's young. Okay. He comes in here. He's going to solidify that back end, right away. We already know. So let's flip it to the offense. We talked enough about defense. We kind of know, but the offense is what's going to make this train go. Okay. And we're going to consistently hear all year. I don't think there's going to be another quarterback in the NFL that's going to be dissected more than Jalen Hurts this year. It's continued. It's continued. No matter what he does, it doesn't matter. He has one good game. He has one bad game. He goes back and forth. Listen, I'm on record. I'll continue to say it that we're going to know by week 6 or 7 if Jalen Hurts will be the quarterback next year. Because they're going to have to figure out, in those first 6 or 7 games, do we take the next step and do we sign Jalen Hurts, to that contract extension? And probably going to be a user-friendly deal, obviously, because you get them early, you lock them up because quarterback numbers just continue to go through the roof. So you're going to have to make the decision. And for my money, and again, Al, I'll go to you first this time. I've been a huge Jalen supporter. I continue to be a Jalen supporter. I think that he's done a lot of good things in this offseason to get ready. I still think last year, when it comes to everybody worried about his arm strength, this kid could throw a football. Okay, he could throw a football. Not everybody had the strongest arm in the world. It's just about him being as accurate as possible and bringing in these weapons. Like an AJ Brown that can take it to the house at any time. A guy that runs crisp routes at Devontae Smith, and another year of Dallas Goedert is going to help. And the evolution of Quez Watkins. I'm telling you, boys, I'm very excited about Quez Watkins this year.
I agree with
I
that.
really am. I think, he listen, he's not going to be a consistent week to week performer. Okay, but he's going to have those boom out games where he goes 8 for 130 and a touchdown. And you're like, where did this guy come from? So, Al, I'm looking offensively, Al. I mean, you're not worried about Jalen, are you?
Nah, I'm not worrying about it. I if you guys remember, I told you this was going to be the make or break year right here. Everybody was talking about last year and all that stuff. This is the year that we're going to know what we have and what we don't have. And when I said that, I had no idea we was going to get Brown, and then all the other stuff that's working out. Brown and Smith give him a little leeway too for mistakes, because every pass doesn't have to be on the money, and they're still going to catch the ball. So not every quarterback had perfect passes back in the day, or even currently. But it's the wide receiver to make a play for his quarterback that we have now. So those high balls, those two low balls, those a little bit that he's got, the wide receiver's got to stretch a little bit for those, because it's not quite on the money, but it's close in the vicinity enough that the wide receiver can get it. Smith and Brown can both do that. So, and then Goddard. A lot of people don't talk about this kid. I've seen all the rankings, and I crush people every time that they would say that he is a top 5 tight end in the NFL today. He's a top 5 tight end, and you all you gotta do is look at the stats. Nobody is not top 5. They was putting the kid from Atlanta in the top 5 already. That's a little too fast for that kid. But Goddard is going to prove that even more this year. And the offensive line should be ridiculous. Again, and look, oh my God, this kid in the middle. We're not going to miss one beat when our basically our Hall of Famer retires. When our Hall of Famer retires, we're not going to miss a beat. He's going to get right in there at center, and he's going to be flooded. That kid, I love that kid already. So we got to just put it together. I don't think we need to force anything. Just take our time, run the ball. I know we got weapons, but you still need to run the ball and stay healthy, and we'll be fine.
Run the ball. Run the ball. I'll say this again, Dan. Let Jalen be Jalen. Let Jalen do what Jalen does. Please, let's not go into that. Oh, we need him to be a pocket passer. We need him to stop.
No,
No, please, 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 please.
just let him play, please.
Yes,
Please.
let
No,
him play.
I
That's
agree.
Please
all.
let him play.
He has to play the position that'll give him the greatest flexibility to be confident. And if he has more confidence after a second read to take off or a first read to take off, and he might have missed somebody that would have been a third read option. If he's still going to get you 10 yards rushing, I'll take the yardage. So the way I look at Jalen Hurts is, listen, I went to 2 games last year and I was underwhelmed with his arm strength. It did concern me. That being said, as a fantasy guy, and there's no more of a fantasy guy than Tony, and Tony and I have done our share of shows together. He's a fantasy beast. So he's productive is the bottom line. And I equated Hurts to the guy in basketball that just score but not a pure shooter. If you score the ball, you score the ball. You don't have to have a pretty shot. He's a playmaking quarterback. So it might not always be pretty, but I'll tell you, when you watch Deshaun Watson in his prime, a few years ago, there'd be stages in a game where you're like, this guy has horrible accuracy. But by the end of the game, the guy was a juggernaut. So, we always have the provincial eye. Like when Carson Wentz was at his worst with his accuracy, we're like, "Oh my god, how could you miss that pass?" You watch a Cowboys game, Dak misses a lot of passes. Everyone, unless your name's Aaron Rodgers and Brady, miss passes. This kid is a playmaker. He will never be a pure quarterback. He'll always be a playmaker. And if they coordinate the offense to his skill set, then we could be a dynamic team.
Yeah, no, I agree. Good, Al. What's up?
A quick thing. I always had the one regret with Donovan McNabb. He listened to all these knuckleheads that wanted to bitch and moan every single week on WIP and 97.5 and in the streets. Don't run. Play your game. Don't listen to the knuckleheads. Play your game. That's all I want Jalen to do is play his game. Don't listen to everybody telling him don't run and I want him to be this and I want him to be that. Be you.
Be you. I agree. Listen, I don't agree more. I mean, I can't agree more. I really can't. I really like Dan says fantasy. Listen, he's my number 4 fantasy quarterback this year. He's going to be a beast. He really is. Even on bad days, I said this before. Even in a 31-0 blowout, the dude still got me 28 points. So, he's still going to put up numbers from a fantasy perspective. So let's do this and let's have a little fun on the last segment here. When we talked about this. It's just like, I look at people who want to project, game by game. It's boring as hell to me. Nobody knows what the hell you're going to do game by game. The teams are different, this and that. It's all the same boring shit, right? So let's just go around the horn here. Dan, I'll go to you first. Give me your opinion. Okay? Give me your opinion give me one guy, okay, that is going to be worse than we think he's going to be. So a guy that we may be overvaluing, okay? And one guy that you think we could be undervaluing on this team. So obviously, it could be a couple players, but in your opinion, like who's that guy that maybe that you have this gut feeling that unfortunately may not be, the best he can be this year?
Al's gonna get mad at me, but I'm thinking Dallas Goedert, to be honest with you.
I agree.
I think he's a very good tight end, but I think he's gonna have the drops like he always does, and I think he's gonna have those invisible games like he always does. And on defense, I'm nervous. I want Bradbury to be the guy opposite of Slay, but if he's not, that opens up the floodgates to having a negative backfield there. And I want for selfish reasons, and if he stays healthy, I want Sanders to have a breakout year.
Yeah.
When no one's expecting him to do so.
I
So
like
that's how I'll project this year. Sanders to do more than we anticipate, and Goddard and Bradbury I don't think will live up to the hype. But as Tony alluded to earlier with the Phillies, hey, I might have lost the bet, but my team won the game. I
That's what it's all
love
about.
eating I love eating crow when I do this stuff. I give an opinion, and if I'm wrong about my team, they're successful, put barbecue sauce on my crow.
It's a win-win. It's a win-win as long as it's spicy barbecue sauce.
Oh
By
yeah,
the
I'll tell
way,
you, I love spice.
but before I get to Al, because you mentioned a couple guys, I got to go next here, because it is for me Dallas Goddard. Okay. Again, I hope I'm wrong, but I don't see what everybody else sees. Okay. I saw a guy in Zach Ertz go to Arizona and still be Zach Ertz. And we had a guy who would have big games and then bad games. And
Exactly.
he would come out and then he would disappear. Okay. So I know he's young. Give him a benefit of the doubt here. I hope, but my gut says I think people are overvaluing Dallas Goddard, in my opinion. Now, that being said, in respect to your Miles Sanders guy, the guy for me is going to be Kenny Gainwell. Kenny Gainwell will not only be the RB1 on this team by the end of the year, okay, but he will be the guy that's going to be goal line. He's going to be the guy scoring the touchdowns. He's going to be the guy out of the backfield. I am telling you right now, there is a Miles Sanders problem, okay? I don't know if it's mental. I don't know if something behind the scenes, okay? Something is going on, and I don't know what it is. But all I know is this team, okay, they played very well with Kenny Gainwell in their last year, and they have been giving him as much opportunity as anybody to get those first team reps this year. And this kid is electric. He's electric. And this is Miles Sanders' last year, depending on what they do. Okay. And I honestly don't think he's going to sign here. And I will say this, just, before I get to Al, I will say this, just be careful. One thing about Howie Roseman and one thing about this Eagles team, they have a tendency on guys at the last years of their deal that they don't expect back. They have a tendency to phase them out a little bit, slowly but surely. Okay. The history is there. All I'm saying is, for me, Kenny Gainwell is going to be that guy on his team. You go, whoa, we did not expect Kenny Gainwell to be this good. So that's for me. Kenny Gainwell, the guy that we least expect to be the guy, and the guy for me, like Dan, to regress, Dallas Goddard. Now, Al, now I'm curious, man, who you got?
You guys both crushed my boy. Wow. Sheesh. I call him top five tight end, and you guys come out and crush him. Wow, that still stunned me. My down is, I think Cox is done.
Well, he's been down now.
But I don't think he can. I think I heard him talking a good game, that I can still be that guy. But I think we're going to see at a certain point in this season, like 4 games in, 5 games in, he'll be like, dude, he has to get less time. He has to come off the bench. You got to play the kid more, or something to that effect. Or Milton Williams got to play more. We're going to be to that point. If we know when somebody is just done, not done like he's trash, but he's not Cox anymore. And if the kid gives you more juice, if Milton Williams gives you more juice, and then God forbid Cox get hurt and he's out for 5 games, and these kids excel, you can't put him back in the lineup.
So essentially, he's no more long Cox. He's more like short Cox.
He's thing flaccid this year.
Yeah, I'm just throwing it out there, man. It's true.
Yeah. And don't forget Hargrave. I think Hargrave is the man.
Well, Hargrave was
on this line,
to the side of him. So
I'm saying he's the man on the line. He's the man on the line. And then Jordan Davis, slowly but surely, I think will be. I think Cox, you're right. I think he's going to be faded out.
Oh my God! If we would have got Davis and Cox in his prime, oh my God! Like, what could anybody do if Cox and Brad was in their prime? Like, you wouldn't even be able to think about running up the middle, even on the guards. You would have to go outside because it would be no running room in there. All right. So
Yeah.
then my surprise, I wrote this down earlier before the show even started. I think Epps is going to have, I think we're going to be talking about this kid and be like, wow, he should make the Pro Bowl this year. Whoa. That's not much of an impact. Tip passes, pass breakups, making people fumble. I think coming up and hitting somebody hard to stop them for a first down. I think this kid is going to have a breakout season. We know about him, but I don't think the NFL does. And he's going to command a large attention as we get to that 8, 9, 10 mark of the games. And everybody going to be like, wow, this kid, he's got 4 interceptions. He's got this amount of tackles. He's made this play. He's got this fumble recovery. He's going to be a playmaker this year. And I just because there's so much else going on, and I think tip passes is going to be a big thing, especially with our corners. Yeah, and Bradbury better play because then that would just be a waste. So I hope you guys are saying Bradbury. Dan, you're saying Bradbury isn't going to. We can't afford that.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm positive it's going to happen. I just it's a concern I have. But to build on what you said, Al, Tony, if I could have a sec.
Yeah.
If Epps does what Al's hoping for, which we're all hoping for, and Gardner Johnson is who we believe he is, on a personal note, that'll make me feel better about not drafting Kyle Hamilton, who I said was a Derwin James generational type safety that I was really upset that we passed on. As much as I like Jordan Davis, I wanted Kyle Hamilton. So if Epps and Gardner Johnson play as we now hope they can, it'll alleviate that disappointment, as it were, that we didn't draft Kyle Hamilton, who is doing extremely well in Baltimore.
I was just going to say extremely well. And
then they cut what's the name the other day because of that.
Yep.
I forget the guy's name, but they cut him.
I mean, I hope it doesn't come back to haunt us like Earl Thomas did for so many years. And I get that Brandon Graham eventually panned out, but for all those years,
correct,
right? If it's going to happen, like you said, Al, let it happen now. Let Marcus Epps, let him rise up to ease the pain a little bit. That's all I'm going to say. Just ease the pain.
And let Jordan Davis play lights out.
I was just getting ready to say that. If Jordan Davis is crushing people and taking double teams when he's in there and causing havoc and doing all of the things that we know he can do and we've seen him can do, I'm good with that, with not getting the safety. I'm good because he's going to just get better and better and better. And then, like, sky's the limit for him. So I'm okay with it. That kid has to pan out. He has to because I kind of wanted the safety too.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Rich says hopefully Sanders stays healthy so they can run the ball. He averages 5.5 yards a carry when healthy last year. Yeah, listen, absolutely. I agree. Jose checking in. What up, Jose? I agree. They have an elite offensive line, and I want to say this. Let's end on this right here. I don't know. Let me ask you guys this because I think it is pretty amazing that I'm not trying to listen, for all intents and purposes, no pun intended, I'm not trying to blow Howie or nothing, but what team seriously in the NFL can legitimately go 10 deep on the O-line? Like, when you think about it, this team can essentially go 10 deep. It is ridiculous.
It really is.
Right? I mean, and these aren't guys that we signed. Like, let's remember that. These are drafted, homegrown guys. And again, Dan, I know you're going to say it. Al, you're going to agree with it. It's the talent that they drafted, and it's the MVP and Jeff Stoutland, who just continues.
I don't know what they're paying him. But he should be the top paid assistant in the whole NFL. I don't care what it is. They should just be, what do you want? Just here's the check, sign it, put whatever you want there. I don't care what it is because this guy, oh my goodness, absolutely ridiculous. He turns everybody into gold.
And to
Crazy.
your point, Tone, I mean, they cut a kid that I was upset that they cut Jack Anderson.
Yeah.
Uh, he was one of the best linemen in the whole preseason, and they cut him.
We could
I'm
bring
drawing
him
a
back on
blank.
the
Was it?
practice squad.
Yeah, if he's not scooped up, I'm not exactly
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
But so to Tony's point, like you cut a kid like that, and on most teams, he might be a backup,
It's
and he
crazy.
can't even make this squad. And they really were choosing between him and is it Sills, the undrafted
Yeah, I think it was the
giant
on. Yeah,
tackle?
yeah, I think so. Yep.
So I mean, and this kid's 6'5", 330 pounds, who's an undrafted player that made our squad. So and it goes to your point. Stalin had an undrafted free agent make this offensive line.
And be a stud.
Yeah,
Like not, you know what I mean? Not even just make it, be a stud. And
and yeah, and Dillard.
right?
And listen, Dillard hasn't been terrific, but he's a serviceable
Yes.
backup.
Right.
And again, I say this till I'm blue in the face. If you really want to make yourself feel better, just switch Malata and Dillard's draft position, and it's playing out that way.
Yeah.
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 I
I
wouldn't
mean,
trade Malata for any left tackle in football, not a
Dude,
single one.
you never know
That's how
what
much
we're
I
going to
love this
need him
kid.
for. Yeah, you never know. You never know. We need the depth. Let's keep our depth. I know everybody screaming, let's get rid of this person. Let's get rid of that person. We got extras. No, we don't know what can happen during the season. Let's keep our depth. These other idiots that don't care about that, let them bury themselves like Dallas. They're going to have a serious problem. Dak is going to run for his life this year. So I'm not helping. I don't care if they give me a first-round pick. I'm not helping Dak out. I want him to get beat up all season. So why give him some ammunition to help him? Sorry, it is what it is.
Listen, I completely agree. I mean, we have been extremely blessed in Philadelphia, and this goes back to the Juan Castillo days, right? Before they put that stupid experiment to make him the defensive coordinator, right? But he had hands of gold, and Dan, you said, listen, no pun intended. Mark Zumoff turning garbage into gold, right? I mean, that's essentially what he does. I mean, Mailata, a guy that he didn't even have footwork, and I'll tell you what. I gotta get, and I know he'll listen tomorrow because he goes to bed early. Obviously friend of the show, but Coach Dave was adamant about Mailata. He kept telling me, Tony, I'm telling you, if they could just work with this kid's going to be a stud.
So he
And
called
he was
it.
right. He was right. So
I
I
think he
got
would
to
have been
give
a
it to him.
stud no matter where you put him. Could you imagine if they said we're going to make him a defensive end?
And he probably could be okay.
I know he'd be okay.
It's
He would just throw people 40 feet off the line of scrimmage.
It's crazy. It's crazy. But I think finally, I think we can finally put a little bit of that Howie Roseman chatter to rest. Good for him. That's all I gotta say.
Hard to listen to him talk, though. I'll tell you that much.
What's that?
It's hard to listen to him talk, though.
Oh yeah, dude. Absolutely. But I listen. He started with this organization when he was 19. 19 as an unpaid intern.
Yeah.
So, like you got to look at that. It's pretty amazing. So let's end on this. I said we were going to end on that, but we got to end on record, right? We got to end on, so we could see, where we all line up at the end of the year. Remember it's that extra game this year. Okay. So there is no more 11-5. It now will be 11-6, right? It's still no 10-6. It's 10-7. It's really freaking weird. But at the end of the day, the Eagles on paper have a pretty favorable schedule. That doesn't mean anything to me, though, because anything can change at any given time. I'll be honest, fellas. I'm not as comfortable with week one like everybody else. Okay. I've watched Hard Knocks, right? Right, Al?
I walk by the board in Vegas every day and I seen 4. I'm like, why are we only -4 in this game? I'm thinking it's going to raise every day sooner. Yep. When I left, it was the same 4. So that is a little worry. I'm like, Vegas think we're only 4 points better than Detroit Lions.
It's
So that
concerning,
does
man.
worry me a little bit.
Those boys out there in Detroit are motivated. One thing about Dan Campbell is, he's a Mike Vrabel kind of guy. They love playing for guys like this, and they're going to give him 110%. Where on some teams you're only get 75% of the players, and that extra 25% is the difference between a win and a loss. And these guys at 110% are coming in with a chip, on their shoulder, and they've been hearing all this talk. They've been hearing all about the Eagles, and all of a sudden now, it scares me because now the national pundits are all getting on the Eagles band. Like, please stay off of it.
Right.
We don't need you, please. Stay
Oh my
off
God.
of it. Okay.
Did you hear Michael Irvin?
Dynasty.
Oh,
I mean, again, yeah. Well, Michael
really?
Irvin, yeah, he might be going back to his old closets a little bit, but
But Tone, to
I'll
your
say
point,
it nicely.
Detroit has. I can't speak to their offensive line, but they got Chark, Hawkinson. St. Brown had a terrific first year. Josh Reynolds. They've got Khalif Raymond, right?
DeAndre Swift.
And I think Swift is going to be jumping the ranks in fantasy football this year. And they got a professional quarterback in Jared Goff. And they had the #1 pick in Hutchinson playing defensive end, who's a beast. So it isn't going to be a slam dunk victory. It's going to be, I think, a gray hair kind of game.
Yeah,
it is. I'm good with that. I'm actually good with that because if we come out and smoke them, what are we going to learn from our team? So I want them to have to grind a little bit. It won't be easy, and then we can really get the season going. I'd rather it be that, obviously, with a win at the end, but a 34-10. How's that going to help us? We need to get better.
It'll help them.
But I want us to learn some things about ourselves. Everything can't be easy to us, and that's what I want them to think. I don't want them to think that it's just going, we got so much talent we could just roll out and smoke everybody. I don't want it to be like that, especially in the beginning of the season.
To Tone's point though earlier, I mean, if he really believes that Hurts is going to be extended early in the season, they have 4 games in front of them that they could win, and that'll really help his resume. And then they have 3 games afterwards that are tough. They got, I think, Arizona, the Cowboys, and the Steelers. So they can go 4-0 and then possibly have. You can never count out the Steelers.
Listen,
this year they might not be so great, but it's no slam dunk. But ultimately, if you're throwing out numbers, you're gonna win. You're gonna win a game that you expected to lose, and you're gonna lose a game you expected to win. So it all balances out.
So what do you got, Dan?
I have 11. I have 11.
So we go in 11-6.
Correct.
All right. So Dan's got 11-6. What do you got, Al?
Same thing.
11-6.
Yeah, just because of what Dan said, I think we're going to lose that game. That everybody's going to go crazy, and then we're going to win that game. Like, damn, I didn't think we could win that game. So, and I think that's how it's going to lay out. I did want to go 12. Trust me, I wanted to go 12, but I think 11 is pretty safe.
Well, I'm going 12. Okay, I'm going 12. Okay, that's one thing that you're going to know about Jigsaw. I go against the grain, but I'm going 12. I'm going 12-5. I'm going 12-5, and I'm even going to listen. I'm going to get a little crazy here. Okay, I don't care.
NFC Championship.
Listen, not only that.
Are we going everywhere? Oh, you ain't tell us how far. You ain't say how far we want to be. Go.
Listen,
because obviously we're going to be in the playoffs.
I don't expect us to win a Super Bowl. I'm not buying into Super Bowl talk. Okay. But Jalen Hurts will be in MVP discussions this year. I'm going to throw that out there right now.
Well, Tone, if that happens, how could you say they're not?
Right. I was just going to say that.
Why? Because they're
going to falter somewhere else where you're not expecting.
Right. Okay. I just think he's going to put up an insane amount of yards this year that people aren't thinking. Everybody thinks it's going to be low, 32, 3,300, because he's not going to, and he's going to run. Dude, listen, he's Lamar Jackson 2.0. You can say what you want, but he really is. Okay, this kid works harder than anybody in the NFL. He really does. He says the right things. He does the right things. He commands a presence. Nobody wants to be better than Jalen. No, nobody. There's not nobody in that room. This kid is driven for success. And here's the other thing I'll say. Last thing I'll say about that. First year he ever in his entire career will be in an offense for 2 consecutive years.
That is very true.
He's never had the same offense besides one. Every year his offense has changed. Right. Every single year the offense system has changed. He's never been in it more than 1 year. This is the first time he's actually been able. He's a freaking intelligent ass dude that he's been able to sit there and decipher this the entire offseason and do it again.
Right.
So I'm just letting you know. I think Jalen Hurts will be in MVP discussions this year. I think the Eagles will go 12-5. I really don't see the NFC is wide open right now. It's wide open. To me, if they with this team, if they don't get to the NFC Championship game, I think there's an issue. With the way the NFC is stacked up, I think they have just as good of reason to be there than anybody right now.
And if you get home field, who knows what happens?
Right.
What's that?
And if you get home field, who knows what happens?
You never know. Sky's the limit. So I'm thinking big picture. I'm going 12-5. I'm saying now again, before everybody twists my words on Twitter like they like to do, I didn't say Jalen Hurts will win the MVP. Right. I said Jalen Hurts will be in MVP discussions this year.
Right.
I'm just saying, just like Carson Wentz was in MVP discussions, it's going to be the same thing this year for Jalen Hurts. He is going to be a highlight reel every week on ESPN. Throwing it out there right now, so get ready.
And I know I want to make sure I put this on the record. If we do not win this division, I will be highly disappointed. There's no reason for us not to win this division. None.
Zero.
No competition in our division that we should not win it.
No reason at all. And you know what else there's no reason for? You to be following at Heat Ratio Sports. So make sure you're following at Heat Ratio Sports. Make sure you're subscribing to the damn YouTube channel. Okay. You're hitting that like button, getting all our shows, all our content. Again, check out J&N Sports Breaks. And again, please tell them the Heat Ratio boys sent you as well. So check them out. As always, man, this has been great. Eagles preview show next week. Who knows? Maybe we'll talk, I get it's going to be after the game. So, or actually, no, it's Labor Day week. It's Labor Day week. It's the following week. So maybe next week, if we're live, maybe we'll talk a little off-season NBA to get everybody riled up. I know Al like that. So, but as always, for Dan, for Al, for Tony, make sure you're following us. Make sure you stay safe. Make sure you stay healthy. And we'll catch you back